Hi, I'm Rob Cram and back in the chair once again, and today I want to talk about Dragon's Dogma once more before you guys get the game, which comes out on the 25th. There's been some discussion about how long it takes you to traverse the entire map. I'm not sure who made that comment, where it came from, whether it was from a preview or the developers themselves made the remark, but I think it's been taken out of context and perhaps has been misunderstood, so I want to set the record straight for that. I'm going to show you in a video how long it will take you to get from one point to the next point by running or walking at normal speed, the standard speed. You can also then sprint, but that uses stamina and it is obviously not infinite. Now you can get stuff that can prevent your stamina from reducing. You may even be able to get something that stops your stamina from reducing completely. But I'm going to show you how long it takes you to get from one point of the map to another point on the map, just to give you an idea of the kind of length of time it takes. But also I want to dispel this kind of, perhaps it's a myth, of this 2-hour thing it takes to cross one point of the map coast to coast. Again, I don't know who said that, where the quote came from, but it's been widely presented with regards to Dragon's Dogma's map size. Now, the way you've got to look at things as well is the games like Just Cause. I think the original Just Cause boasted one of the biggest maps in gaming. And I think if you was to travel from one end to the other, that would take a fair amount of time to do that. I'm not sure 2 hours. I think Skyrim also has, it takes about half an hour to go from one end of the map to the other. So Dragon's Dogma, I think if I'm going to be honest here, Dragon's Dogma would take you probably 2 hours to walk from one end of the map to the other, maybe even longer than 2 hours. And let's pick up on the word walk here, because the game's walking speed is exceptionally slow. I mean, you take in the environment and you look around, and it's the most relaxing way of traveling across the game. But it's so slow, excruciatingly slow, that it would take you 2 hours. I'm not timed it, I'm not even going to attempt to time it. But it would take a huge amount of time to travel from one end of the map to the other. Now, sprinting, on the other hand, can take a lot less time than that. And even if you sprint, recover the stamina by trotting or slowing down your pace to let the stamina build up, then sprint again, it's going to take you, I'm not sure how long it's going to take to go from one end, but it's definitely not 2 hours. So let's take a look at the game, and then we'll see how it relates to going from one point to the other, and then you can roughly work out how long it would take you to go from one point of the map to the other, and put it in perspective that way. But again, let me reiterate a point here, that with Dragon's Dogma, it's not necessarily about how long it takes you to go from one point to the other, because it's the bits in between that makes Dragon's Dogma. And I think also what makes Dragon's Dogma is the fact that each time you venture out, even into the same locations again and again and again, it's different each time, because you've got a different objective. It could be a side quest that you're doing, it could be that you're using different pawns and you want to see how they play out, it could be you've changed your vocation and you want to now try doing that section with a different character class. So I think the way you've got to look at Dragon's Dogma is its versatility in how gamers adopt their play style and how they approach the same situations, even though you may do those time and time again. Like for me, I've travelled from the capital in the game up to the northern section hundreds of times, or it feels like hundreds of times, and you know, each time has been a kind of different experience, even though the enemies vaguely appear in the same places. You know, you've got the fact that it's a day and night cycle as well, that it changes the dynamic of the gameplay when you head out from nighttime, you're going to come across a different set of enemies, or a tougher set of enemies than if you go through the daytime. And you've got the aspect of the transition from day to night as you're traveling across through the lands. And then you also got the element where if you stick to the paths, the you know, or wander off the path, you'll find a different kind of element to the game, how you're traveling. So I think the focus should really be not on how long it takes to go from A to B on the map, but like I said, what you do within that map, and that's what really counts. And Dragon's Dogma does offer a lot of replay value in terms of that kind of open environment that you can explore. It's a sandbox environment, and I think gamers will really lap up that aspect of the repeated experience, but done in a different way each time you do it and each time you tackle it. And I think that's one of Dragon's Dogma's biggest strengths. Okay, so let's take a look. Thanks for watching. So as suggested, we're going to show you how long it takes you to walk from one section of the map to the other. So this is the starting hometown of your character, Cassardis, and we're here outside the gate. See the arrow there? We're going to walk along this path to the encampment. Now, to put that in perspective of the scale of the map, that is a small section of the map. So there's the whole map. Just out of interest, some people have wondered what this area here, this kind of graphic, well basically that's Witchwood, which actually loads differently to the rest of the map once you go enter it, and then that's made up of 2 areas inside there, so it's quite a large part of the game is Witchwood. So we'll walk from Cassardis to Unusual Beach, but we won't walk, we will use the standard run or kind of jog animation. So you'll see how long it takes to go from A to B. There aren't any enemies here, should be safe. You can see the encampment in the distance. So obviously if you look at the timer on the video, you can see how long it's taking to get there. And that should give you a rough idea then of how long it would take to travel from one section of the map to the other at this standard running pace. This pace doesn't use stamina, but obviously it slows down if you're carrying lots of items. You'll move slower. And stating the obvious, it would be a lot quicker if you was using the sprint button, which will sprint on the way back. So there you go, that's how long it takes you to get. We'll look at that map again. From Cassardis to the encampment. And if we look at the entire map, that's that one section there. And you've got this whole area to explore here. Now if we go back and sprint back, you'll see how long it takes to sprint this particular stretch. On your marks, get set, go. Now I'm obviously going to run out of stamina, and we'll have to slow down. You can see my stamina is running out, running out of breath, almost made it, and then I call to a halt, so I'm out of breath, and they heal my stamina, and then we'll walk the rest of the distance and then run again. And there you go, that shows you how long it takes when you're sprinting. So I hope that gives you an idea of how long it takes to go from one point to another, and then you can put that in perspective. But then again, you can do it a different way, and you can start travelling across the lands, and you'll encounter some enemies which you didn't by just sticking to the path. And again, that kind of process slows your travelling down considerably. And then there's obviously things like exploring, looking for items, these chests, and anything else as well that you might want to come across. So that's, in a nutshell, and killing rabbits as well is also an optional thing you can do. So that's just by wandering off the path for that same section. So if you can imagine that then for the entire scale of the game, and also all of the sub areas that you can travel to and explore, it's quite a wide and varied kind of land to explore. And then as I said earlier, you can then come back at night time and do the same stretch and encounter a completely different set of enemies and challenges to go with it. And I got him. Okay, thanks for watching.